What happens when one of Hollywood's biggest comedians sits down for what should be a lighthearted chat and it turns into one of the most uncomfortable interviews in daytime television history? Will Ferrell, the man who has made millions laugh, found himself in a situation where nobody was laughing. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. And what started as playful banter quickly spiraled into something nobody saw coming. Before we get into what went down, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling us what you think really happened here. Because this one is wild. So the interview starts off normal enough. Kelly Clarkson has that signature energy she always brings, smiling wide, welcoming Will Ferrell to the stage. The audience is clapping. Everyone seems excited. Will walks out, does a little wave, and takes his seat. You can see he has that classic Ferrell demeanor, kind of laid back, ready to joke around. Kelly jumps right in. Will Ferrell, welcome to the show. It is so good to have you here. Will nods, gives a little smile. Thanks for having me, Kelly. Good to be here. So, you have been in the game for so long now, Kelly says, leaning forward. I mean, decades of making people laugh. How do you keep it fresh? How do you stay relevant in comedy when everything changes so fast? Now, this seems like a pretty standard question, right? But you can see something shift in Will's face. It is subtle, but it is there. He pauses for a second, and when he responds, there is this edge to his voice. Stay relevant. He repeats, kind of laughing, but not really. I mean, I just do what I do. I do not really think about relevance that much. Kelly does not pick up on the tension, or maybe she does and just pushes forward anyway. No, I just mean, comedy evolves. What people find funny changes. Do you ever feel like you have to adapt or change your style? Will shifts in his seat. I think funny is funny. If you are genuine, people respond to that. I have never been someone who chases trends. Right, totally, Kelly says, nodding enthusiastically. But I guess what I am asking is, do you ever worry that your style of comedy might feel a little, I do not know, dated to younger audiences? The audience gets quiet. You can feel it. That word, dated, just hangs in the air. Will's expression changes completely. He is not smiling anymore. Dated, he says flatly. Kelly realizes she might have stepped in it, and she tries to backtrack. I do not mean it like that. I just mean, comedy from the early 2000s. It was a different time. Some things that worked then might not work now. Some things like what? Will asks. And now, his tone is direct. He is not joking around. Kelly laughs nervously. I mean, just in general. Not you specifically. Just the landscape has changed. You brought me on here to tell me my comedy is dated. Will says, and you can hear the frustration building. That is what this is about. No, Kelly says quickly, putting her hands up. That is not what I am saying at all. I think you are incredible. I have always been a huge fan. I just think it is interesting to talk about how comedy changes over time. Okay, so let us talk about it then. Will says, crossing his arms. What specifically about what I do feels dated to you? Kelly is clearly uncomfortable now. She is trying to keep that bright energy going, but you can see the panic in her eyes. Will, I really did not mean to offend you. I think you are one of the best to ever do it. That is not an answer, Will says. You asked me how I stay relevant. You said my style might feel dated. So tell me what you mean. The audience is dead silent. Kelly looks over at her producers off stage, like she is hoping someone will save her, but nobody does. She takes a breath and tries to continue. Look, all I meant was that comedy has become more, I guess, socially aware. Like, people are more conscious of how jokes can affect different groups. And your movies, which I love, they are hilarious, but some of the humor in them might not fly today. That is all I am saying. Will leans back in his chair, and he is just staring at her now. So you are saying I am not socially aware? I did not say that, Kelly protests. You are twisting my words. Am I? Will asks, because it sounds like you invited me here to lecture me about how I need to update my comedy to fit whatever the current rules are. Kelly tries to laugh it off. Will, come on. This is not a lecture. We are just having a conversation. This does not feel like a conversation, Will says. This feels like an interrogation. Kelly shifts in her seat, clearly flustered. Okay, maybe we got off on the wrong foot here. Let me ask you something else. You have done so many iconic characters. Ron Burgundy, Ricky Bobby, Buddy the Elf. Do you ever feel pressure to recreate that magic, or do you feel like you have moved past those roles? Will just looks at her for a moment. Moved past them. What does that even mean? I just mean, do you ever feel typecast? Like people only see you as those characters? Kelly asks, are you asking me if I am a one-trick pony? Will says, and his voice is sharp now. No, I am not saying that at all, Kelly insists. I am asking if you ever want to do something completely different, like dramatic work or something outside of comedy. I have done dramatic work, Will says. Stranger than fiction. Everything must go. But I guess those do not count because they were not big enough hits. Right, Kelly is scrambling now. I loved Stranger Than Fiction. That is not what I meant. I just think you are so talented, and I wonder if you ever feel limited by people's expectations of you. So now I am limited. Will says, first I am dated, then I am not socially aware. Now I am limited. This is great, really great interview. Kelly. The audience does not know what to do. Some people are laughing uncomfortably, thinking maybe this is a bit. But you can tell by the look on Kelly's face that this is not planned. She is genuinely rattled. Will, I feel like everything I am saying is coming out wrong. Kelly says, her voice getting a little shaky. I have so much respect for you. I am a huge fan. I really did not mean to upset you. Then maybe you should think about your questions before you ask them. Will says, because right now, it feels like you brought me on here to tear me down. That is absolutely not what this is. Kelly says firmly, I would never do that. I think you are brilliant. I just wanted to have an honest conversation about your career. Honest, Will repeats, nodding slowly. Right. Honest, will let me be honest with you. Kelly, I did not come here to be insulted. I came here because I thought this would be fun. But this is not fun. This is you taking shots at me and then pretending like you are just asking innocent questions. Kelly looks genuinely hurt now. I am not taking shots at you. I promise you, that was never my intention. While your intention and your impact are two different things. Will says, and the impact is that you have spent the last 10 minutes questioning whether I am still funny, whether I am still relevant, whether I have anything left to offer. So yeah, I am upset. Kelly takes a deep breath, trying to regain control of the interview. Okay, I hear you. I am sorry if my questions came across the wrong way. Can we start over? Will does not say anything for a moment. He just sits there, looking at her, and you can see him deciding whether to give her another chance or not. Fine, he finally says. Start over. Kelly visibly relaxes a little. Okay, great. So, you have a new project coming up. Tell us about that. Will pauses, then speaks. I do have something new. It is actually a passion project I have been working on for a while. It is more personal than anything I have done before. That sounds amazing, Kelly says, her enthusiasm returning. What can you tell us about it? Not much yet, Will says, but it is something I am really proud of. It is different from what people expect from me, which I guess based on this conversation is a good thing. The audience laughs a little at that, and Kelly laughs too, but it is forced. I really am sorry, Will. I did not mean to make you feel like I was criticizing you. It is fine, Will says, but you can tell it is not really fine. The tension is still there, simmering just below the surface. Kelly knows she needs to salvage this somehow. Kelly tries to lighten the mood, flashing that big smile again. So, let us talk about your process. When you are developing a character, where do you start? What is your inspiration? Will looks at her, and you can tell he is still guarded. It depends on the character. Sometimes it is a voice I hear. Sometimes it is a physical thing. Sometimes it is just a feeling. A feeling, Kelly repeats. Can you elaborate on that? Not really, Will says. It is hard to explain. It is instinctive. Kelly nods, but you can see she is frustrated that he is giving her short answers now. Okay, well, let me ask you this. You have worked with so many incredible directors and actors. Who has challenged you the most? Challenged me how? Will asks. Just, pushed you to be better, made you work harder, Kelly says. Will thinks for a moment. I mean, everyone I have worked with has been great. I do not really rank people like that. Sure, Kelly says, clearly trying to get more out of him. But there must be someone who really stands out. Someone who made you see comedy differently or approach your work differently. Why does there have to be someone? Will asks, and there is that edge again. Why can I not just appreciate everyone equally? Kelly laughs awkwardly. I am just trying to get some insight into your creative process. My creative process is mine, Will says. I do not really feel like dissecting it for entertainment. The audience shifts uncomfortably. Kelly is clearly thrown off. Okay, fair enough. Let me ask you about something else then. You are known for improvisation. A lot of your best moments are unscripted. Do you ever feel like that makes it harder for directors to work with you? Like, do you ever get pushback on wanting to go off script? Will stares at her. Are you asking me if I am difficult to work with? No, Kelly says quickly. I am asking about the collaborative process. It sounds like you are asking if I am difficult. Will says, first you question my comedy, now you are questioning my professionalism. Will, that is not what I am doing. Kelly insists, and you can hear the desperation creeping into her voice. I am trying to understand your approach to your work. By suggesting that directors find me difficult, Will says, that is understanding my approach. Kelly puts her hands up again. Okay, I clearly worded that badly. Let me rephrase. Improvisation is a huge part of what makes you great. How do you balance staying true to the script while also bringing in those spontaneous moments? Will takes a breath, and for a second, it seems like maybe he is going to let it go. You trust the script first. You honor what the writer created. Then, if there is room to play, you play. But you always come from a place of respect for the material. That is a great answer, Kelly says, visibly relieved. See, that is what I wanted to know. That is interesting. Glad I could finally give you something interesting, Will says, and the sarcasm is heavy. Kelly winces. Will, I really feel like we got off on the wrong foot, and I am trying to fix it. Are you? Will asks. Because it feels like you keep digging. I am not trying to dig, Kelly says, and now she sounds genuinely upset. I am trying to have a conversation with you, but you are being really defensive. Defensive, Will repeats. I am being defensive. Okay, maybe I am defensive because you have been attacking me since I sat down. I have not been attacking you, Kelly says, her voice rising a little. I have been asking you questions. That is what an interview is. There are questions, and then there are loaded questions. Will says, and yours have been loaded. Kelly shakes her head. I disagree. I think you are taking things the wrong way. So now, it is my fault. Will says, I am taking things the wrong way. I am being too sensitive. Is that what you are saying? I am saying that my questions were not meant to offend you, and I am sorry if they did. Kelly says, but I also think you are reading into them more than what is there. Will laughs, but there is no humor in it, right? Okay, so when you asked if my comedy was dated, that was not meant to be offensive. It was not, Kelly says. It was a genuine question about how comedy evolves. And when you asked if I felt limited by people's expectations, that was not offensive either. Will continues. It was not, Kelly insists. I was asking about your range as an actor. And when you asked if directors find me difficult, that was just innocent curiosity. Will says, I did not ask that, Kelly says, her voice getting louder now. I asked about improvisation and collaboration. You are the one who turned it into something negative. Because that is what you implied. Will says, matching her volume. The audience is completely silent now. This is not entertainment anymore. This is a real argument happening in front of everyone. Kelly looks at her producers again, and you can see her trying to decide whether to cut to commercial or push through. She chooses to push through. Will, I think you are being incredibly unfair to me right now. I have been nothing but respectful to you. Respectful, Will says, shaking his head. You have questioned my relevance, my awareness, my range, my professionalism. That is your idea of respect. I have done none of those things, Kelly says. You are twisting everything I have said. I am not twisting anything, Will says. I am responding to the questions you asked. No, you are responding to what you think I meant, not what I actually said. Kelly argues. Then maybe you should say what you mean. Will fires back. Kelly takes a deep breath, trying to compose herself. Okay, you know what? Let us just move on. Clearly, we are not going to agree on this. Move on to what? Will asks. More questions about how I am past my prime. I never said that, Kelly says, and now she looks genuinely angry. I have never said anything like that. You are putting words in my mouth. I am repeating your questions back to you. Will says, if you do not like how they sound, maybe you should think about why that is. Kelly stares at him, and you can see her jaw tighten. You know what? Well, I have apologized multiple times. I have tried to clarify what I meant. I have tried to move forward. But you are determined to stay mad, and I do not know what else to do. Maybe you should not have come at me like that in the first place. Will says, I did not come at you, Kelly says, her voice shaking now, whether from anger or frustration or both. I asked you normal interview questions, and you took offense to all of them. Normal, Will says, laughing bitterly. Right, normal. Tell me, Kelly, do you ask all your guests if their work is dated? Do you ask everyone if they are difficult to work with? I did not ask you either of those things, Kelly says. You are completely mischaracterizing this conversation. Am I? Will says, because I am pretty sure everyone watching knows exactly what you were doing. Kelly looks out at the audience, and some people look uncomfortable. Some look confused. Some look like they are eating this up. I was doing my job. I was conducting an interview. You were trying to make me look bad. Will says, that is absurd. Kelly says, why would I want to make you look bad? What would I possibly gain from that? I do not know. Will says, maybe you wanted a viral moment. Maybe you wanted controversy. Maybe you just do not like me. Kelly's eyes widen. I do not. I have always. I am a fan of yours. I have said that multiple times. You have said it, Will agrees, but your questions tell a different story. Kelly throws her hands up. I give up. I do not know what you want from me. I want you to be honest. Will says, if you have a problem with me or my work, just say it. Do not hide behind fake compliments and loaded questions. I do not have a problem with you, Kelly says, and she sounds exhausted now. I genuinely do not. I think you are incredibly talented. I think you are funny. I think you have had an amazing career. I do not know how many times I have to say it. Then why did you spend this entire interview tearing me down? Will asks, I did not. Kelly says, and now there are tears in her eyes. I really did not. And the fact that you think I did breaks my heart because that was never my intention. Will sees the tears and seems to soften slightly, but only slightly. Maybe not your intention, but that is what happened. Kelly wipes her eyes quickly. I am sorry. I am really, truly sorry. I never wanted this interview to go this way. Neither did I. Will says quietly. There is a long, painful silence. Nobody knows what to say. Kelly looks down at her cards, then back up at Will. Do you want to just end this now? We can stop if you want. Will considers it. I think that might be best. Kelly nods slowly. Okay, I understand. But then she says something that changes everything. Can I just ask you one more thing though? Just one more question, and then we are done. Will looks at her warily. What do you really think I was trying to hurt you? Like in your heart, do you really believe that was my goal? Kelly asks, and her voice cracks a little. Will does not answer right away. He just looks at her, and you can see him thinking about it. Will sits there, really thinking about her question. The audience is holding its breath. Finally, he speaks. I do not think you woke up this morning planning to hurt me, but I think you were careless. And carelessness can hurt just as much as intention. Kelly nods slowly, taking that in. That is fair. I can accept that, and I am sorry for being careless. For a moment, it seems like maybe they have reached some kind of understanding. Maybe this is where they shake hands and move on. But then Kelly keeps talking. I just wish you could see that I was trying to ask thoughtful questions. I was trying to go deeper than the usual promotional stuff. I was trying to treat you like the artist you are, not just a celebrity selling something. And that is where it goes wrong again. Will's face changes. So now you are defending your questions again. I am not defending them, Kelly says quickly. I am just explaining where I was coming from. But you just apologized. Will says, you just said you were sorry for being careless. And now you are telling me you were actually being thoughtful. Kelly shakes her head. Both things can be true. I was trying to be thoughtful, but I was careless in how I asked them. That is what I am saying. That does not make sense. Will says, either you were thoughtful or you were careless. You cannot be both. Yes, you can, Kelly insists. You can have good intentions and poor execution. That is literally what happened here. Will leans forward. Or maybe your intentions were not as good as you think they were. Kelly's face hardens. Excuse me, maybe on some level, you did want to take me down a peg, Will says. Maybe you do think my comedy is dated. Maybe you do think I am not socially aware. Maybe that is why those questions came so easily to you. That is not true, Kelly says, and her voice is cold now. The tears are gone, replaced by anger. That is completely unfair, and you know it. Do I? Will asks. Because from where I am sitting, you have been looking down on me this whole time. Looking down on you. Kelly repeats, incredulous. Will, you are the one who has been condescending to me. You have been dismissive and hostile since the first question, because the first question was insulting. Will says, it was not, Kelly says firmly, and I am done apologizing for it. I asked you a legitimate question about staying relevant in a changing industry. That is not an insult. That is a conversation every artist has to have with themselves. Maybe, Will says, but it is not a conversation I wanted to have with you on national television. Then maybe you should not have come on a talk show. Kelly snaps, and the audience gasps a little. She immediately seems to regret it, but she does not take it back. Will stares at her, and you can see the shift happen. Up until now, he has been frustrated, annoyed, defensive, but now he is done, completely done. You know what, Kelly? You are right. Maybe I should not have come on your show, because clearly, you have some kind of agenda that I was not aware of. I do not have an agenda, Kelly says. I am just tired of being accused of things I did not do, and I am tired of being disrespected, Will says, standing up now. The audience gasps louder. Nobody was expecting this. Kelly stands up too. Disrespected. Will, come on, sit back down. Let us talk about this. We have been talking about this, Will says, starting to unhook his microphone, and we are going in circles. You do not think you did anything wrong. I know you did. We are not going to agree, so you are just going to leave. Kelly asks, and there is disbelief in her voice. In the middle of the interview. What interview? Will asks. This stopped being an interview a long time ago. This is just you and me arguing, and I do not want to do it anymore. Kelly looks panicked now. She glances at her producers, then back at Will. Will, please, do not do this. Just sit back down. We can end on a good note. There is no good note here, Will says, pulling the microphone pack off his belt. This whole thing has been a disaster from start to finish. It does not have to be, Kelly says, her voice pleading now. We can fix this. Just give me 5 more minutes. Will shakes his head. I have given you enough time. I am not giving you any more. So you are going to walk off my show, Kelly says, and now she sounds angry again. You are going to embarrass me in front of my audience, my viewers, everyone watching at home. I am not trying to embarrass you, Will says. I am trying to remove myself from a situation that is not good for either of us. By walking off, Kelly says, by making a scene, by making this all about you. Will stops and turns to look at her. Making this all about me? Kelly, you are the one who spent 20 minutes grilling me about whether I am still funny. You made this about me. I was interviewing you. Kelly says, that is what an interview is. It is about the guest. There is a difference between interviewing someone and attacking them. Will says, I did not attack you, Kelly says, and she is almost shouting now. How many times do I have to say it? I did not attack you. Then why do I feel attacked? Will asks, his voice rising to match hers. Why do I feel like I just went through an interrogation? Because you are oversensitive, Kelly says, and the second the words leave her mouth, You can see she knows she crossed a line. The audience is dead silent. Will just stares at her. Oversensitive, he says quietly. Kelly tries to backtrack immediately. I did not mean it like that. I just meant, I think you misunderstood the tone of my questions. No, you said what you meant. Will says, you think I am oversensitive. You think I cannot take criticism. You think I am the problem here. Will, please, Kelly says, reaching out like she might touch his arm, but he steps back. Do not, he says. Just do not. I am sorry, Kelly says quickly. That came out wrong. I am stressed, and I am frustrated, and I said something I should not have said. Finally, Will says, something honest. Kelly looks hurt. I have been honest this whole time. No, you have been defensive. Will says, just like you accused me of being. You have been defending your questions, defending your intentions, defending everything instead of just owning that you messed up. I have owned it, Kelly protests. I have apologized multiple times. And then you keep justifying it. Will says, that is not a real apology. That is you trying to make yourself feel better. Kelly's face flushes. That is not fair. Maybe not, Will says, but it is true. He starts walking toward the side of the stage. Kelly follows him a few steps. Will, please do not leave like this, she says, and her voice breaks. Please, can we talk about this after? Off camera. Will stops but does not turn around. There is nothing to talk about. Kelly, you think I am oversensitive and dated and not socially aware. I think you are a bad interviewer who hides behind apologies that do not mean anything. We are not going to change each other's minds. I do not think any of those things, Kelly says, desperately. I swear to you, I do not. Will finally turns to look at her one last time. Then you should be more careful with your words, because they matter, and they hurt. And with that, he walks off the stage. The audience does not know what to do. Some people are clapping awkwardly. Some are just sitting in shocked silence. Kelly stands there, frozen, watching him go. She turns back to the camera, and you can see she is trying to hold it together. Her hands are shaking. She takes a breath. We are going to take a quick break, she says, her voice unsteady. We will be right back. But you can tell she is not sure if they will be. The camera stays on her face for just a second too long before cutting away, and you can see the moment she realizes what just happened, that this is going to be everywhere, that this is the interview people will remember. She closes her eyes, and the screen fades to black. So there you have it, one of the most uncomfortable interviews in recent television history. Will Ferrell, walking off the Kelly Clarkson show after what started as a normal conversation turned into a full-blown argument. Both sides convinced they were right, both sides feeling attacked and misunderstood. The question is, who do you think was in the wrong here? Was Kelly out of line with her questions, or was Will being too defensive? Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button because we are breaking down moments like this all the time. What would you have done differently if you were in either of their positions? Let us know in the comments.